Confession of Inmate 74216. I am writing this with hands that still tremble when I hear a door slam. For 22 years, the world knew me as inmate number 74216. Not a father, not a son, not a mechanic who loved fixing old engines, just a number in a system that had already decided my story. My name is Daniel Harper, and I was innocent. I remember the day they took me away as clearly as the day they let me go. The arrest happened on a Tuesday morning. The sky was painfully blue, the kind of blue that belongs on postcards. I was halfway through my coffee when the knock came. 3 hard knocks, the kind that don't ask permission. 2 detectives stood there. One held a folder. The other looked at me the way people look at something already broken. They said a woman had been murdered. They said my fingerprints were found near the scene. They said a witness placed me nearby. What they didn't say, what I learned much later, was that the fingerprints came from a public doorway I had used weeks before, and the witness was mistaken in the dark. But in that moment, truth didn't matter. The story had already begun to form around me. The trial lasted 8 days. 8 days to erase a life. I watched strangers look at me like they were studying a monster behind glass. The prosecutor spoke about me as if he had lived inside my head. He described rage I never felt, hatred I never carried. My public defender tried. I believe he truly did. But trying is sometimes no match for a machine already in motion. When the jury came back, I saw it in their faces before they spoke. Guilty. My mother fainted. My father stared at the floor like gravity had doubled, and I was led away in chains. Prison does something to time. At first, every day feels like a year. Later, years begin to feel like a single, endless afternoon. I watched seasons change through a window covered in bars and thick glass. Spring would come with birds I could hear but never see. Winter would creep into the walls until the cold lived in your bones. The worst part was not the cell. It was the forgetting. My friends stopped writing after the 3rd year. My father died in year 7. I was allowed a phone call, not a funeral. My mother tried to visit every month until her legs gave out. Some nights I would lie on that metal bunk and wonder if the world outside had simply decided it was easier if I stayed buried in here. And the frightening thing was, I almost started to believe I belonged here. Almost. But there was always a small voice somewhere inside me that refused to die. A stubborn whisper that said, "Hold on." Year 19 is when everything changed. A young lawyer from an Innocence Project wrote me a letter. Her name was Claire. She said she had been reviewing old cases involving questionable forensic evidence and mistaken witness testimony. Mine caught her attention. I didn't want hope. Hope had hurt me too many times already. But she kept digging. New DNA testing had become available. Evidence stored in a dusty locker was finally examined again. And what they found was someone else. A man already in prison for another violent crime. His DNA was on the clothing. His fingerprints were inside the apartment. Not mine. Never mine. The day they told me I was going home felt unreal. After 22 years, freedom didn't feel like freedom. It felt like stepping onto another planet. The judge cleared his throat when he read the words, "Conviction vacated." Just like that. A sentence that stole decades of my life disappeared in 4 syllables. They opened the courtroom doors. I stepped outside, and the first thing that hit me was the wind. I had forgotten how wind feels when nothing stops it. I stood there for several minutes just breathing. Cars passed, people talked. Somewhere a child laughed. Life had continued all those years without me. And strangely, I wasn't angry. Not the way people expect. Yes, I lost time, more time than any person should lose. But prison also showed me something I would never have seen otherwise. I met men who were truly broken, yet still capable of kindness. A man who shared half his food every day because he remembered hunger as a child. Another who spent 10 years teaching others to read. Even in the darkest place built by human hands, light still found cracks to slip through. That realization saved me. People ask me now if I hate the system, if I want revenge, if I want someone to suffer the way I suffered. The truth surprises them. No, because the moment I walked outside those prison gates, I realized something powerful. They took 22 years from my life, but they did not take the rest. I still have mornings. I still have sunsets. Last week I felt rain on my face without asking permission from a guard. Yesterday my mother held my hand again. Her hair is white now, but her smile is the same one I remember from childhood. And tomorrow? Tomorrow is something I never stopped believing in. If you are reading this and you feel buried by something, by injustice, by mistakes, by pain you didn't deserve, listen carefully to a man who lived inside a cage for half his life. Time does not belong to the people who hurt you. Hope does not belong to the people who doubt you. And the future, no matter how dark things seem, is never as locked as it appears. I lost 22 years, but I did not lose the sunrise this morning. And that, my friends, is enough to begin again.